Welcome back to the channel, Warhammer Man Studios, and I'm of course Warhammer Man. And I just wanted to mess around a little bit more before I got into paint, and just kind of test out this board a little bit and mess with some of the options. Now that I had essentially turned the Zone Mortalis tiles into like second and like third story tiles. And in case you didn't see that video, I do highly recommend that you go check that out. I know the Zone Mortalis tiles are currently sold out, but they will be back soon. But essentially, this is what I'm talking about right here. This is a Zone Mortalis tile, and all I did was I took the extra pieces right here that you end up with in the kit. With most builds, because you're going to have like two variations of top, and every pillar is going to come with, or column is going to come with, one top with it, and then it's going to come with, the whole set is going to come with a bunch of these tops as well. So you can only put one top on each one at a time. So you'll end up with basically like a bunch of these extra pieces. So if you just line those up with, the corresponding piece right here, the height of the tile itself is like perfect height to go ahead and put them on the bottom there and then create a floor tile. So you can actually see this is one of those tiles right there, and then I've built like completely everything else on top of it. So it basically just provides you with a way to make a big multi-level board. So if I had taken the time and just put like the other tile up here, basically I could have a huge multi-level board with like tons of surface area on essentially like 3 levels. Because right now the way I had this laid out, this is like the actual mat here on the bottom, and that is basically just shy of like 2 by 2, 2 feet by 2 feet. But then I have like 2 tiles right here and one in the back. I didn't spend the time to do all 4. I wanted to see how they like clip together and kind of like joined up by having them like caddy corner. So if you would have had like, essentially what I did was I took another tile and put it in the middle of the 2 in the back, rather than just having them like 4 in a row like 2 by 2. I just have the one in the middle back here staggered underneath, and then I have another one on top, and then this is all made from like the individual pieces. That's not an actual tile. That's why I left this one piece out. So it was very clear what was going on there. And then these front pieces are parts of the kit that I actually like modified and are like magnetized in many areas and everything. And then I just laid out the stairs in a couple ways. And I didn't spend a ton of time to make sure everything's like clicked in here perfect. But I just want to demonstrate like essentially like what you could kind of get out of this kit, what you could expect out of it. This is 2 of the kits. With essentially like right now I have 4 Zone Mortalis tiles in this set, but 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 total Zone Mortalis tiles right now in this set. So just so you can kind of get an idea like what you could do. And then there's a couple alchemite stacks in there, and then one that I didn't even glue together. I just kind of like, laid it down up there. And just overall, without any kind of accessories or anything, it's amazing how fast you could just build like a completely different board, like something different, something cool. That just literally wasn't even an option like a couple months ago. There was nothing on this level. Aside from essentially just like 3D printing your own stuff, and even then, the like Lego ability of this stuff. I don't know what the real word is, but essentially they're like giant Legos. And as soon as you like look at it and you say like, I had the lift in the back over there, and I was like, oh, I should move it over front so you can like see it better. But then like, the wrong piece was here or there, so it's like, oh, let me just switch this out, switch out these stairs. You know what I mean? You could do like a double set of stairs leading up. I mean, there's just like the endless amount of basically like opportunities that you have with this board, with these boards. And I definitely highly recommend it. I think it's one of those things where you 100% like get the value out of it multiple times over, because you're not just gonna like mess with this one time and glue it and be done with it. If you take the time in the beginning and you put a bunch of magnets in it and everything, in the end it would literally pay off exponentially. And like I was saying too, even if you are in a rush to like get it painted and everything, do a little bit of the stuff now, and then you can go back later even after it's painted and drill a couple holes in it and put a couple magnets in it, and then just touch it up with like some grime or some grit or whatever. I mean, when it's all said and done, this thing's not supposed to look uniform. It's not going to be like you know, a handsomely painted Space Marine, you know, fresh for battle that's never stepped foot, like, you know, in his new armor. No, this is supposed to be the Underhive. Like, it should be gritty and grimy, and there should be repairs. Like, there should be times when people went back in and modified things or fixed things or, you know, whatever. Just cover it up with some blood or some slime or something. That's what I'm going to do anyway. But I did, you know, I just really, like, wanted to mess with it just a tiny bit more, you know, because I had it in that one configuration for so long, and then I basically just built, like, that kind of boring tower up yesterday. So I was like, man, let me see if I just kind of like mess around with this. And you can't really see it that well, just because of like how some of this stuff is. Oh, that's the one that's like one piece, so I can't even really show you. But like this, you know, essentially like this goes underneath there. So if you plan this out like a little bit differently, basically, this is a lot of this like magnetized, a lot of that was like one piece. But if you sort of like just, I don't know, plan this out a little bit differently or whatever, you basically have like that whole walkway that kind of curves around back there. And then, I mean, you could put like, I don't know, man. You could put like a sliding door right in here or whatever, and that's the boss, and you gotta like fight your way through it, through a bunch of like, you know, other guys or whatever to get to the big dog. I mean, just, you know, I like that thematic, like kind of narrative stuff a little bit more. You know, I never really used to be into that. I was really into like the competitive stuff, and honestly, it has started to grow on me. And you know, that's always been, like I've mentioned before, that's a little bit more of my brother's style. But again, you know, over the last like couple years and everything, like, you know, it's kind of grown on me, and it makes the games like so much more fun and flavorful. And you know, it's like I was saying with the old grudges and stuff like that. You know what I mean? You've got like a couple heroes or villains or whatever that have like faced off in the past, and you know, maybe have like a little bit of unfinished business, and you know, so then when they meet up again, it's like a little extra dramatic, a little extra fun. But I don't know. I mean, the opportunities with this set are literally, you know, endless, and you can clip this stuff together like a lot better. But when I just kind of threw it on here, if you have like essentially like one or two pieces that are not completely like clipped in correctly, the other ones around them are not going to want to like sit in correctly too. So sometimes you do have to like actually take a little bit of time and make sure, you know, everything is where it's supposed to be and how it's supposed to be, and then, you know, you'll actually get like a lot more of like a playability out of it from doing that. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I mean, like I said, the opportunities with this stuff are endless. If you just take a little time, you know, throw a couple magnets in here in the beginning, and then, you know, I mean, you won't. I don't think you'll regret it. Like I said, I don't think anybody that bought these sets regrets it at all. I think there's probably people that were upset because of the cost of it, and again, I don't blame them. But I think overall, you know, it's one of those things where, yeah, maybe you don't get to just, you know, run out and buy it day one or whatever, but it's definitely worth, you know, taking the time, splitting it with a buddy, you know, splitting it with like, you know, your gaming club or whatever. Or, I mean, I don't know, sell your Xbox. I don't know what to tell you. You probably get more fun out of this thing anyway. But like I said, though, that's just my opinion. I mean, I think this stuff's cool. You could literally just do like, there's just endless opportunities with this stuff. I mean, you could play with it forever, and, you know, just kind of like discover, you know, that it really is like just limitless creativity. If you can think it, you can build it with this. And you know, when you start really combining like the other kits, and the one thing that I've noticed that really just fills this out and just makes it amazing, if you take like the actual like the thermic plasma conduits, I think I said that right, thermic plasma conduits. Yeah, if you take those bad boys basically, and you know, you spend the time and put them in here right and everything, like, I mean, they look absolutely phenomenal, and the amount of depth and everything, and like the cover and 3D effect that they add is it's absolutely amazing. So, but yeah, that's it, man. I basically just wanted to you know, mess around like one more time, kind of before we start tearing it down and everything. Experiment with the Zone Mortalis tiles, kind of how they were. I am just trying to kind of give an example of like how some of these things are magnetized, as I sort of just take this stuff apart and show you like some of the opportunities that you have. You will find that you're gonna want like some pieces. This is one solid piece. I completely glued this together, and it can be used as the top of like a piece like that to make a spiral staircase around it, combined with this piece right here. So actually, I'll just show you, because this is just a nice, easy setup like that I found that I use a lot, and that I really like. You basically just take this bad boy right here, and matter of fact, put it right there so you can see a little bit better maybe. Alright, so I don't know, that one doesn't seem like it's sitting all right here. Well, regardless, I'm gonna show you. Sometimes you have to like, mess with this stuff just a little bit to get it perfect. Definitely do. So yeah, basically these guys clip on the bottom here, and then this guy goes around the other side. Oh wait, did I miss that? Oh, I did the double. I didn't even realize. So yeah, that would be like a little bit different of a way of doing it. I'm gonna move this stuff here, and then I'll put it a little better vision. And like I said, just having a couple larger pieces just gives sort of like some overall stability to the whole board. And then that way, when you put your stuff together, you know what I mean, it's not like falling all over. But these stairs now like curve around the backside, and then come up on top, and then you're on like a platform. And what I was trying to say before is, if you didn't want to do, the way these are set up is you basically wrap right around a pillar like that. I need like a single. I'm not gonna lie too, like honestly, I think magnetizing these, and there's certain pieces like that you will need at times, or that are like super useful at times. I think having like a little bit of like a color coat hack on them is genius. I had discussed that in one of my videos, sort of just having like a couple of random pieces kind of like color coded. But yeah, that's basically it. It needs like the other piece on the back side, it needs the other version of this one. But again, I just kind of slapped all this together. But I think like having a color coded like bit, like this is an easy piece to find now because it has little bits there. It doesn't have to specifically be like just random dots like this, but you might paint like graffiti or put whatever you want, like something just custom on a piece, so that you can like glance at it in a hurry and basically like see which piece it is. So you're not like scrambling trying to look for something, so you could build it. And again, over time, it's cool to like have some pieces that you didn't put together, because again, over time, you may be like, man, I really just wish I had this exact piece, but I didn't build it. And that's an opportunity that you'll essentially like have if you don't just like rush and put every single piece together, like right away. But I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I rushed, I put everything together. But I also like, I knew there was going to be some things probably that I was going to have to redo. I knew there was probably going to be, what's that? Oh, mistakes were made. Like, I mean, I knew what was up, but, it was still worth it 100%. I'm glad. These videos have been awesome. I've truly enjoyed it. It was definitely a push for me to, finally create my channel and start putting out useful content. That's like the craziest stairway ever. It's like 100 sets of stairs. To like put this one on, Stairway to Heaven over here. But like, I kind of like the idea of, stuff going out of sight, kind of like it just continues on forever. You know what I mean? So like that camera angle, only goes up so high, but there's just like a stairway that like continues on, and essentially like it's just the next level of the Underhive is like above us. But we'll see. Maybe got to unlock that to get up there like later on, and there'll be like the James Bond golden gun